And tons of stuff to look at today, folks. We see a sunspot formed, only 100 seconds until Doomsday, and so much more stuff to get to. No screwing around. Here's sunspot 2757, I believe is going to be the name of this one. And we're looking at it in the intensity gram here, located right there under my pointer. It has just poofed into existence in the past 9 hours or so, right when we typically start the coverage. Now, we did show a coronal mass ejection yesterday out of the far side of the sun, and we're looking at the view from stereo A here. No Earth facing anything going on right now, but there's that coronal mass ejection. It's finally released for the most part, and that is on the far side of the sun. Here's the colorized magnetogram animation of the last 9.5 hours of this new sunspot. It is an alpha class sunspot, as we only see an umbra associated with the South Pole oriented portion, which is the leading portion shown here in yellow and red. Cycle 24 sunspot at a very low latitude close to the equator. No surprises happening there. And here's a view from helioviewer.org showing the growth of that sunspot in 171 angstroms, and showing a plasma plume there right on the limb of the sun as well. I'll let that play through one more time for your viewing pleasure and then move on to some data. We see a very weak solar wind and a very weak magnetosphere, and not surprisingly, nothing happened in the proton flux. It's flatlined. X-ray flux has come off the floor a tiny bit, and all eyes on that sunspot. If it grows, if it becomes a beta class, all of that increases the likelihood of greater X-ray flaring. 10.7 centimeter radial flux still at 71, just above solar minimum conditions. And if you want to read more about the 10.7 centimeter radial flux, we've left a link to the Australian Government Bureau of Meteorology site about it. This started to be studied in 1947 when some guys in Canada used some World War II radio equipment to measure the radio flux from the sun, realizing eventually that indeed it is a proxy for sunspot number. And there's the graph showing you how tightly correlated 10.7 centimeter radial flux and the sunspot number is. In other words, you can tell what's going on with the solar cycle on a cloudy day. KP index is at 0 for most of the last 24 hours here. Let's look at cosmic rays. Before I do that, I would note that we do link to this Network of Cosmic Rays station site here. And I would note also that I saw another extremely famous YouTube channel, one with nearly the better part of 500,000 subscribers, talking about how cosmic ray flux is at the modern maximum. And that's not true unless you're measuring it only from the year 2015. So that's some cherry-picked data from a very, very famous YouTube channel, which will remain unnamed. Here's the cosmic ray situation at Apatity and Barentsburg. Apatity up top. And there has been an uptick here over the past 30 days at Apatity and Barentsburg. And there's Barentsburg in the bottom pane. Next we'll go to Athens, Greece. Look at their neutron monitor. And there's the data from that over the past 30 days. Quite flat there. Next we'll go to Mexico City. By the way, you can access archived data at Mexico City, and this is another monitor which will show you that cosmic ray flux was higher at the last solar minimum than it is during this solar minimum. So feel free to go access the data there at the Mexico Cosmic Ray Observatory. It, like OLU, will show you that I'm not lying when I tell you cosmic ray flux is not at the modern maximum. Anyway, there's a situation at Mexico City. Tiny uptick over the past 30 days. Let's see if Moscow's back to sending data. And Moscow's been not sending data for the last week or so. And next we'll look at OLU, which shows you its historic graph. And you can see higher levels here in 2009 2009, and 2010. So anyway, there's Oulu, Finland. No real uptick there over the past 30 days. There's DOMC, Antarctica. And there's DOMB, Antarctica, which has not been sending data. Again, we do leave links to the Network of Cosmic Rays station below the video in the description, so check that out after you become a patron and click our other links. And here's the real-time solar wind data from ACE. I'll leave that on the screen for a moment, and then look at the more interactive view from Discover. And there's the real-time solar wind from that. Phi angle currently at 270 or so degrees. Solar wind density 4.42 protons per cubic centimeter. Solar wind speed 328. Solar wind very low, very weak background conditions there. We did see the scale expand here on the solar wind density a bit. And this spike here is reading up at, I can't really get it to stop on that, but the scale has expanded there. That's why you see all the way up to 100. I don't see any readings anywhere near that high, but these appear like they were over 10, probably at about 30, but it's a very fleeting and short signal there. And it does show up on ACE as well. So a bit of striations there in the solar wind density coming in. Next, we'll look at the geospace magnetosphere movies. Here's 4 hours of data, cursing at University of Michigan. Just kidding, I'm not really cursing at University of Michigan. There's 4 hours of data of the geospace, and this is derived from the Space Weather Modeling Framework. And we see some small pressure spikes there, otherwise quite steady. Next, we'll look at geospace ground magnetic perturbations, and there you have that. 4 hours of data there. We saw some odd geomagnetic jerks yesterday, so perhaps watch yesterday's daily space weather video if you missed it. You can find it at youtube.com/smAshomash and at bitshoot.com/smAshomash and at minds.com/smAshomash. Anyway, there's all the data from that 4 hours during this geomagnetic excursion. And relativistic electrons are quite low, and electrons in general are excessively low. Gauss electron flux here, I believe, is the lowest we've ever measured it, as we see both the 16 and the 14 at levels so low they're below the measuring capacity of the spacecraft. Next, we'll look at the ionosphere, and there's 6 hours of data of the ionosphere, and we see continued anomalies in the South Pacific off the west coast of South America. It's been happening for a solid month. Otherwise, pretty steady as she goes. Let's bring up the final image here after this plays. And the final image is at 9:15 UT. 9:45 UT. All right, I stand corrected. And there's the GOES magnetometer data. And we are solidly in the south pole portion of the current sheet, where we expect to stay for an extended period. Here's the data corroborating what I just said on the Gong 2. This data 1 hour and 22 minutes old. And the South Pole oriented portion of the current sheet here is shown in red. North Pole shown in green. Remember, folks, the plasma is not the fields. The plasma simply aligns to the fields, and the fields run the show. And I don't know what else to tell you other than deal with it. Earthquake rundown includes a bunch of deep earthquakes, including some in Western South America. Heads up, Western South America. Please have an earthquake plan. And please leave a comment if you're viewing from South America, or if you think that you're Batman, and that the best way to propagate your Batmanness is to tell people you don't know on YouTube that you're Batman. If I were Batman, I would talk about a 214-kilometer deep quake near the Solomon Islands at a 4.9 magnitude. Here's a 4.7 at 566.1 kilometers. And there's one of those deep quakes. That's one of the deepest quakes I've ever seen in South America. A 5.5 magnitude at 560 kilometers. That would be around a 7 magnitude if it happened at the surface, folks. Here's another very deep quake at the Philippines. So 3 deep quakes right along the equator there. That one in the Philippines is at a 4.6 magnitude and 546.5 kilometers depth. Let's just take a look at the location of that one real quick. And it happened out in the middle of the Celebes Sea. And back to the list. Just going to keep scrolling up here. And so the largest quake of the past 24 hours, folks, was a 5.5 magnitude at extreme depth. And there's another deep quake in Argentina there. That one at 4.4 magnitude and 113 kilometers. Western South America is still my favorite spot for a big quake. Let's talk about other disasters. People crashing planes in Australia. Now, this is a private firefighting company, and all 3 of these Americans on the plane died. 2 pilots and a flight engineer. Keep their families in your prayers, folks. Links to the article from New York Post shall be below the video. Let's talk about Taal Volcano real quick. Now, you see this area to the west of Taal Volcano? Those are all boats, folks, as this thing is a lake within a lake. It's a quite interesting scenario there. If this thing erupts big time, it is going to be bad news for a lot of people, as it's a heavily populated region. Taal Volcano back on the list. We'll get to it in a minute. First, we're going to look at pressure zones here on windy.com. I don't know what the heck it is showing me there, but get rid of that. And I'm just going to let this advance 24 hours looking at the pressure map here of the GFS forecast. Let me move this over. There we go. And we've got some significant storm systems still striking the central U.S. Let's pause this at about 12 Zulu, 13 Zulu tomorrow. Those are the anticipated pressure zones. Lots of low pressure over the North Pacific, by the way, including under Alaska, Kamchatka, and the Aleutian Islands, as well as right over Iceland. And to the volcano list, we see Mount Aso producing a 6,000, I'm not sure, possible activity. Don't build a campsite on the slopes of Mount Aso. Sakurajima, flight level 8,000 there. Mount Taal, flight level 3,000 there as it continues to erupt. Flight level 14,000 at Semaru, so that's back on the list, Semaru. Tokono, flight level 7,000. Carinci, uptick there, flight level 14,000. Sangay, 20,000 foot ash plume there. Revenador exploding, 15,000 foot ash plume. Sabancaya exploding, 24,000 foot ash plume. Sounds like a little volcanic uptick to me. What say you? Let's talk about Doomsday. The Doomsday clock has been changed because science alarmism is rampant on our planet. It's 100 seconds till midnight. Oh my God! No, only 100 seconds. Well, by the time this video's over, it'll be Doomsday, folks, because we've got more than 100 seconds to go here. We're closer to destruction than ever before. Doomsday clock reset to 100 seconds to midnight. Oh my gosh! It's not because of an increase in nuclear proliferation, I don't think. It's just because of climate change. And if you're wondering how this thing went down, back in 1953, it went to 2 minutes. And then in 1991, when the Cold War ended, it went to 17 minutes. And then in 2019, it went to 2 minutes because of lack of progress on nuclear risks and the dangers of climate change. And this year, 100. We've lost 20 seconds, folks. I'm terrified. And science still aiming to scare the crap out of people. Let's talk about some actual stuff going on. Coronavirus. 1 case so far in the U.S. confirmed. Perhaps don't go to central China if you were planning a vacation. You may want to put that off. We've linked to the Zero Hedge article below the video, as well as to smashomash.com/forum, as we've put a very extensive article about coronaviruses there. Don't be afraid of the coronavirus, folks. It's all about having a good immune system. If your immune system works okay, coronaviruses aren't going to do anything to you. Although some of them are deadly. So I'm not suggesting that the coronavirus is not deadly, as there's quite a few people dead and entire cities on lockdown. But coronaviruses are an entire family of viruses, which include things that are totally harmless, like the common cold, which, although can kill you if you have a depleted immune system. Speaking of depleted immune systems, how about some herpes-positive singles dating? Do you want to meet singles who have STDs? Whether it's herpes simplex 1, herpes simplex 2, HPV, or perhaps even HIV. Get the herpes-positive singles dating app. We left links to this Google Play Apps original, and thanks, Google Play Store. What a great idea. Let's talk about something else disgusting and silly. Do you know what that is? It's called the Satisfier. It's some kind of a Bluetooth-enabled web-based device, and let's just read the article's headline here. The future we deserve. Your app-enabled dildo or butt plug could be spying on you. As there are a lot of devices like this nowadays. And I don't know if you're familiar with the Internet of Things. Some things are a little bit more personal than others. And let's just read a quote from one of the chief marketing officers. We don't sell our users data, and we only use it for customer service issues. And we wipe those logs regularly. We bet you wipe those logs regularly. Let's get back to more earthy stuff, less vomit-inducing stuff. And here is lightningmaps.org. There's where the lightning strikes are coming down. Or are they going up? Or are they doing both? We're not going to comment, but that's where they are. Check out lightningmaps.org. Here's where the jet streams are, looking at the Western world. And I don't know what to tell you besides those jet streams are all over the place. Check it out. Look at the jet streams over Europe. We've got significant jet stream moving east to west over here, and that is a jacked up jet stream. Here's the eastern world, looking a little more coherent on the eastern side of the planet. Shout out people on the eastern side of the planet. Please leave a comment. Please share with your friends and your foes on social media. Here's a U.S. Doppler radar map, and there's quite a bit of precipitation coming down. Iowa, Illinois, Wisconsin, Missouri, Michigan, Nebraska, Kansas, even some Colorado and Oklahoma getting snow out the yin-yang, as well as an ice storm hitting central Nevada. We're expected to get some harsh weather this weekend where I'm at, too. I shouldn't say where I'm at. You're not supposed to end a sentence with a preposition. Anyway, here's the U.S. water vapor map. And for all you folks who are getting precipitation, this should give you a little better idea. Now, this thing is stagnating as this dry air here is being held up. It's being sucked back because of a low pressure zone. Remember, folks, low pressure systems don't run the atmosphere. High pressure systems run the atmosphere. Low pressure zones are slaves to high pressure. It's just the way it works. Those are the way the inputs work in the atmosphere, folks. And that's part of the reason why we look at this map, because dry air is more massive than wet air. And here ends your weather pornography lesson. We're going to zoom in on that area over Arkansas. And there's that spirally system there over Arkansas. And you can see that that dry air is going to serve to weaken the systems a little bit. But it's going to be taking its time pushing that system through, as that swirling motion there caused by the low pressure zone trailing this dry air. The low pressure is probably right around the Missouri-Kansas border, folks. And we'll just let that play one more time and then move on. By the way, if you enjoy the content, please press like and subscribe on YouTube. And please share the videos on your social media. As we approach 1,500 subscribers and we get super, super excited, oh my gosh, could we possibly get to 1,500? Let's talk about the smAsho mission. It's to assist, study, and report on the ongoing formation of unified theory of physics, to raise the awareness of the general public of the relationship between space, weather, and Earth effects. All your weather comes from space. To connect and consult with media organizations to multiply our reach, hence the YouTube channel. To demonstrate cutting-edge proof of concept solutions to problems. To publish scientific papers in a multidisciplinary manner, including but not limited to spectroscopy, chemistry, astrophysics, health, wellness, longevity, cosmology, biology, magnetohydrodynamics, geology, and more. To assist the humans by advancing the study of predictive phenomena in order to optimize value and reduce risk and liability, and save lives and adapt no matter what the adversity is, including a Carrington-type event solar flare striking the Earth. And lastly, to not be ossified in our beliefs and to treat those who are with love, respect, and inclusion to the scientific discussion. If you think mankind is doomed, if a Carrington event happens, well, it's not doomed. There are many, many, especially induction-based technologies that can not only help us cope with it, but actually improve our lives, especially if you have hardened grids. If you want to support the mission, please become a patron, the true source of funding for the entire operation. So check out smAshomash.org as we welcome you to the Neo-Renaissance. And also check out smAshomash.com/forums. There is a link on the homepage, so scroll down and check that. Also check our other social media links, where we link to BitChute and Minds and Instagram and Twitter and YouTube. We have updated the MOST section, as we have in our cosmology forum, a section about the MOST. Are you familiar with the most luminous object ever imaged? It's Blazar 3C454.3. We've also linked 2 papers in there, as well as putting an image of its location. And my file has been deleted. Oh my gosh! Actually, there's the file in question. And we're just showing you an image of the galactic plane of the Milky Way galaxy and the location of the most luminous object ever imaged. Blazar 3C454.3. So check out the cosmology forums. Here's the one paper, as this thing had some significant outbursts in both 2005 and 2007. And there are the 2 papers about that. They're both linked at smAshomash.com/forum. And we've got even more stuff to cover. We're going to have to integrate the cosmology section once again because we are running late. So let's talk about some more spaced out stuff for our spaced out viewers. Welcome to the cosmology segment. Welcome to space. All right, first of all, let's talk about the Galaxy Zoo project. We need humans to classify galaxies. Check out Zooniverse.org's Galaxy Zoo project. Let's go through it real quick. This one's got features. It's not an edge-on disk. It's an elliptical galaxy. I'm going to say a weak bar in that one. There's no sign of a spiral arm pattern. There is a large bulge. Please leave a comment if that's what she said. Is it merging or disturbed? Nope. And do we see any of these features? I don't see any of those features. Nothing unusual. Just an elliptical galaxy. And please ignore that green artifact, as it's probably some sort of a foreground lens flare type of an effect. Zooniverse.org's Galaxy Zoo project. Become a citizen science project. Become a citizen scientist. Astronomers detect very unusual chemical composition in ancient stars' atmosphere. It's all about the ratios of iron versus oxygen versus hydrogen and helium. The metallicity of stars is very important, as people ineffectively try to guess stars' ages. The idea that we know a star's age is just absolutely ridiculous. But anyway, the star J0815 plus 4729 has some interesting properties. Perhaps have a read about that on the SciTech Daily article. You'll find it all over the Science Wire. It's on phys.org. It's everywhere. Here's where stuff is in the solar system. And it looks like we've got a new moon, folks. There's where things will be in a week, as Venus and Mercury creep up on us on this lonely side of the sun. Here's where stuff is above my head, and boy, oh boy, is it getting late. I got to get this video complete here, and there's still plenty of stuff to cover. Mars has just risen. Check out in-the-sky.org. Make yourself a sky chart. Put in your location. This is the all-sky chart. It's good times. You can even animate it. Check it out. You see Mars rising, and then you see Jupiter rising, and then you see the sun rising. Actually, you see Saturn and the moon, and then you see the sun rising, I guess. And then you see Mercury rising, and then you see Venus rising. See, that's what happens when all the planets are on the other side of the sun, folks. Check out this article. This is amazing. The ESA just produced this image. An image of the sun from every single day of the year. What a great job. Never thought of that. Here's another article from SciTech Daily. My favorite science publication. And this one is all about how it's solar minimum, talking about the ESA's Proba 2 satellite, but most importantly, talking about the solar orbiter, which I am super stoked about. Let me just read you a quote here. With its suite of 10 state-of-the-art instruments, Solar Orbiter will perform unprecedented close-up observations of the Sun from high latitudes, providing the first images of the uncharted polar regions of the Sun and investigating the Sun-Earth connection. The mission will provide unprecedented insight into how our parent star works in terms of the 11-year solar cycle and how we can better predict periods of stormy space weather. As the poles are the part of the Sun that I am interested in, the Solar Orbiter is going to be on the radar on this channel big time, especially as it starts sending back data about the solar poloidal fields. As poloidal fields run the universe, folks, not toroidal fields. So if you want to read all about the solar orbiter, we've linked to this ESA article. Shout out to the European Space Agency and also to the Proba 2 mission. So we've put links to both of those. This is an object that hangs around Earth, and that's where those images of the Sun came from. And welcome to the That Is an Ass and That Is a Hole in the Ground section, where we talk about everything from overreach to how to battle overreach, something that I'm in the process of doing right now, as I've been fined $241.25 by the lowest form of government that there is, code enforcement. Oh yeah. So if you've been abused by the government in any way, check out Institute for Justice. Report it and get back to me, because I need an attorney for my appeals process. Let's talk about privacy. DuckDuckGo.com is an alternative to the Google Junkware search engine, which will provide objective results. It won't store your personal information. Ever. It won't follow you around with ads. It'll provide objective search results, unlike Google Junkware. Stop using Google as a verb. Stop using Google as a search engine. Use DuckDuckGo. Get objective search results. And don't get tracked. Because you know what? Google is doing you a disservice. The more different stuff you're interested in, the more of a disservice it's doing, as it tries to steer your search results where they don't know what you're searching for. They'd like to think they know what you're searching for, and their algorithms are ineffective. The more stuff you know, the less effective their algorithms are. And DuckDuckGo turned us on to privacyinternational.org. The site is literally just privacyinternational.org. Another company, another organization, a nonprofit, working on digital privacy. So governments try to spy on you. Businesses try to spy on you. Your employer probably tries to spy on you. There's all kinds of spying going on. Learn how to battle it at whatever that was. Now, if you follow me on Instagram, you'll notice that we cover things that we don't cover on the channel. We don't just complain about overreaching governments. We also provide pro driving tips. Here's one from yesterday.
And we've decided to come at you with another pro driving tip. Today's pro driving tip is drive at consistent speed. When somebody's passing you on the highway, don't speed up simply because they're passing you. That's insanity. Happens all the time. You try to pass somebody, they speed up. Then you get behind them, they slow down. Then you try to pass them, they speed up. Simply drive a consistent speed. This car that's about to pass me can't seem to do that. It seems like a simple prospect. So that's your pro driving tip. Drive at consistent speed and don't speed up when you're passed. It's stupid.
Anyway, I'm your pro driver, smAsho, and that's your pro driving tip.
That right there is a dumb thing to do.
For those of you who don't use Instagram, sometimes we highlight stuff. If you do, consider following the channel. And thanks, Smash Team. Stay tuned for bonus segments. We're going to blast through even more stuff. Are you familiar with the new coin that the Swiss Mint has created? The world's smallest coin? It's only 2.9 millimeters, and it costs $205, despite only being worth 26 cents USD. Why? Well, it's a collector's item, and it comes with a magnifying glass. So if you've got money to burn, literally, you're not going to be able to get in a bathtub full of these coins, because they're only making 999 of them. That article from CNET is also linked below the video, as well as to the link to the Swiss Mint. If you'd like to buy a very, very expensive coin with a very, very low intrinsic value. I like the idea if they were going to make it actual currency, but sorry, it's just a collector's item. Let's look at commodities real quick on cnbc.com/markets. I want to just look at oil, which actually is quite low yet, $55 a barrel there. Quite low. And that's partially a result of an anticipated global slowdown. U.S. economy looking a lot better than everybody else. And also in the currency markets. So there's gold sitting near a 7-year high. And we did talk about crypto a little bit yesterday. So check out yesterday's video if you didn't see yesterday's video. As we don't always put up clips of our videos, that's going to be something coming soon where we have shorter clips. Here's the 1-year chart of silver. Please leave a comment if you remember when we were telling people to buy silver when it was less than $14 an ounce. And I would also invite our viewers to check out Coinbase. And if you're new to crypto investing, you can earn free crypto on Coinbase just by simply learning about it. I can earn $40 in OXT. I can earn $6 in XTZ. I can earn $14 in DAI. So this is a very interesting thing to do, folks. So consider joining Coinbase if you want to take the first step in crypto investing. I only have a small token investment. I'm not a believer. I believe that cryptocurrencies are just a speculative investment and don't have intrinsic value like Dutch tulips. And of course, people will argue and say the blockchain is the intrinsic value and so on. But hey, it's a speculative investment. I'll give you that. Just like a stock, essentially. So consider the links below the video if you want to get started in crypto investing. Click the links, and you'll earn free crypto if you use our link. I believe you'll earn $10. It's all free, and you'll have money in the account just by simply signing up, folks. Here's the latest image of the local yellow dwarf, and we're looking at that sunspot right on the equator, and it looks like it's already turning into a beta class as we see a second umbra possibly forming there. I think it is going to be. And let's look at the colorized magnetogram. There's the high res of that. See if it's complexifying. And it is indeed more complex. Looks like it could be turning into a beta class sunspot, folks. So keep an eye on that throughout the day. And when I say eye on, the pun is intentional. And we've decided to close things out here with a 48-hour video of the local yellow dwarf in 94 angstroms. I'm told this is an SDO calibration maneuver there, not any kind of an anomaly. So a little bit of activity there, folks. New sunspot forming. Cycle 24. Welcome to the Neo-Renaissance. Thanks for tuning in. Remember to stare at the sun. Don't drink. If you do drink, don't drive. And since it'll never be now again, may that solar wind be at your back and that atherosclerosis absent from your veins.